Greetings and welcome, my fellow train enthusiasts, to another Train Tuesday. I am your host, Jim Wiggin. So glad you could join us tonight. And believe it or not, we are just a few more days until Christmas. Some of you out there may be celebrating Hanukkah. So happy Hanukkah to all of our fans out there that celebrate. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Really exciting time of year. And man, just perfect for trains. Before we get started, though, let's go ahead and do some shout outs and see who's joining us here tonight. I've got Robert, Delta 9, Jason, Donnie, Oak Rail, BNSF 9708, Jay Cure, Toledo Rail Fan, Abel, Mickey, Tim, and Daniel and Michael, just to name a few, who are joining us. Now, if you're joining us live, thank you for joining us live. We really do appreciate it. If you're catching us on our YouTube channel and have watched after the fact, welcome. We hope you like what you see. We hope you value the content that Athearn brings you each and every week. And do me a favor while you're at it, if you do enjoy that content, go ahead and like and subscribe to the Athearn YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time a new video drops. Currently, we drop at least one video per week. That is Train Tuesday. Last week, we had 2 videos. I had Tony Cook on board last week, and we talked on the Athearn Extra. If you haven't seen the Athearn Extra, go ahead on over to the YouTube channel and check out Athearn Extra episode 1.5. It is a special holiday edition where we talk about everything that Athearn is coming out with for the month of December, as well as some neat Christmas and holiday traditions. So before we get started, we're going to be talking about Fruehauf trailers tonight. And we're going to be talking about HO and N scale. But before we get started, let's do one more round of shout outs. I've got Kyle, Terry, BN Green, 1970, Ian Frost, Forrest, Jackie, Jerry. Going back a little bit further, we've got Ronald, Greg, Gerald, Michael, Daniel, Tim, and let's see, Robert, Michael, and Harold. Just to name a few, there's a lot here joining us tonight. So glad that you could be with us here. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to talk about these Fruehauf trailers. These are going to be under the Athearn banner. They're going to be available in both HO and, for the first time, an N scale. Now, the N scale models are brand new models. We've never produced these before. We're going to talk about both of these. And then after that segment, we'll take a few questions. And then I've got some special stuff to show you just before we go to the big holiday. So let's get started. So like I said, we're going to be talking about the HO and N scale Fruehauf trailers. Now these are part of the Athearn line. Now to give you an idea of what these guys look like, here is one that's currently in stock at your dealer. We announced these. I believe we announced these in February of 2021. And here we have the Santa Fe number 253417. This was announced in February of 2021. These are in stock now. So if you like what you see tonight, but you got to have one right now, contact your dealer because we had a run of 45-foot trailers in HO scale that we announced last year, and now they're in stock. So this will give you an idea. You can grab 1 or 2 or more of these. They are going quickly. I can tell you the Conrail and the Boston to Maine ones are already sold out. So Santa Fe and some other roads are still available. If you like what you see, go ahead and grab one. Now, we're going to talk about what we're offering this time. Now, before I do go on, let's go ahead and take a look at the detail of the HO scale trailers. So pretty detailed. They also come with a set of tractor legs, so they can be in the up position as if they're on a tractor, or they can be in the lowered position, so they can be anywhere you want on your layout. Really nice wheel detail on these. And on the last run, including the Santa Fe run, we did this particular one in Prime for Grime. This was originally a 40-foot trailer, and they added on 5 feet. As you can see, that Real easy demarcation line there. So again, if you like that Santa Fe one, that is available right now at your dealer. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing next. We're going to be doing a range of trailers from the 1970s all the way up into the 1980s in this run. Now, a little background on these. In the 1970s and 80s, Fruehauf Corporation was one of the more prolific builders of semi-trailers that were designed specifically for intermodal service. Trailer equipment that was designed to be carried on flat cars as part of the rail operations usually carried the letter designation as Z as the last letter of the reporting mark, hence Fruehauf's designation of Z van. Now, such equipment was built to higher durability standards than your normal trailers, as it had to withstand the rigors of both road and rail travel. So, really unique trailer. Here we've got the Burlington Northern trailer. And this guy here is perfect for 1980s. You can tell by that paint scheme. Real common in the 1980s. Again, 45-foot trailer. Now we're offering these 45-foot trailers in both HO and N scale in 2 different road numbers each, so you can stock up on your favorite road. Some pretty neat things that kind of squarely put this into the 80s. You can see the 45-foot marking on here. You can see the Fruehauf badge. And the other neat thing is the mud flaps. Mud flaps are going to have all that printing that you see there. Coming up next is the Clipper line. Now this is great for the 1970s, and that's when really these trailers got their start. Now I've said it before the Staggers Act, there was a length requirement on semis. Now, in order for a semi or a company to use a 45-foot trailer, they would use the old cab-over tractors or a snub nose. You couldn't use a conventional tractor because with a conventional tractor and the hood out further, it would make the length with a 45-foot trailer all that more longer and thus be against road regulations at the time. Therefore, conventional tractors at the time were usually stuck with the 40-footers, but companies kept on with the cab over so they could use the 45-footers. Now, of course, that all changed after 1979, the Staggers Act, but it's an interesting thing to remember when you're doing your 1970s era model railroad. Going into the 90s, we have the Transamerica. I remember seeing these all over. Specifically in the Midwest. But this is another one of those trailers that will really help define your model railroad. Again, available in 2 different road numbers, 1990s era 45-foot Transamericas. Of course, a lot of these probably can still be found out there today. So if you wanted to weather one of these up and put it in the back of an old warehouse or even on an old tractor somewhere, you could definitely do that. And then last but not least, going back to the 1980s, we have the extra leasing. These are very common. Both could be seen on TOFC as well as on the road. And again, remember that the landing gear legs are offered so that you can have them in the raised position or in the lowered position. Now let's go over the features of the HO scale trailers. Now the HO scale trailers, these are going to retail for $39.99. Contact your dealer for the best price. That is not necessarily the price you're going to pay. We have to list retail prices since we are a manufacturer. So thus, suggested manufacturing retail pricing on this is $39.99. Now here's some of the features that we're including with the HO scale. They're all going to have the separately applied mud flaps. You saw the graphics on there. We're going to have that graphic on the finished model that really makes these stand out. Of course, they're going to have rubber tires. And you can see in the body in that first picture that I showed you, they're very highly detailed. They're going to have the rivet detail according to the prototype. There's no ribbed trailers in this one. The Fruehauf trailers could be ribbed or riveted. This run is just going to be the riveted versions. Now let's talk about the all new N scale versions. The N scale versions are brand new. This is brand new tooling. We've never offered it before. These are going to have some details that you might not be expecting in an N scale model. Now the N scale models are $31.99 retail. And in future runs, we're going to have both body types. This run, we're just having the smooth sided, but in the future, we will offer this in the earlier rib sided trailers as well. There's going to be two rear door styles, just like the HO. There's the 2-latch version and the 4-latch version. Now, here's what's really cool. The separately applied wire landing gear crank. It's really hard in N scale to come up with a convincing wire crank than plastic that is just looks too big. If we were to mold it in plastic, the crank would be this big around. So we've modeled this in wire. The wire just represents it much better. It scales out so much better. That's really something new altogether for our N scale trailers. They're going to also have separately applied mud flaps, so a lot like the HO scale cousins. And the bogies are positionable, so keep that in mind. That was something that a lot of guys were asking for, and they have been designed in this to include that. So there you have it. That is what we're offering in both HO and N scale. And believe it or not, you only have about another week. Next Friday, the 30th, is when you're going to want to get those pre-orders in. So get those pre-orders in, preferably before the Christmas rush. That way you know you'll have them ready to go next year. And again, everything that I showed you, all those road names are available in both HO and N scale, and they are available with 2 road names each. You can check those out at athearn.com by selecting the new announcements and looking at the HO scale or the N scale Athearn trailer of your choice and placing your pre-order with your dealer. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open this up for a few questions. I'm going to go through the comment section here. Leonard Skinner says, hey, I see the Grand Trunk Western Genesis GP38-2s are showing up. Yeah, if you're seeing actual photographs of the product on our website versus the line art, you know they're close. So keep your eyes on it. Whenever you see one of the models that you pre-ordered as an actual photograph, that means we've already gotten the production samples in here and we've taken pictures. So you only have a few more weeks to wait. Keep your eyes on the website if you ordered a GP38-2 because your wait is almost over. Will the trailers have different numbers? Absolutely. Both HO and N scale, they're going to be offered in 2 different road numbers. Of course, they're going to be different from not only each other, but we strive to make those different than former runs. Let's see what else we've got out here in comment land. Sid saying that the GP38-2s are in now. That's a possibility. Haven't had a time to check everything, but we were expecting that shipment, so it is possible they're in. So if that's the case, your dealer will be contacting you if you pre-ordered. If you didn't pre-order, you have just enough time to get yourself an early Christmas present. Let's see what else we've got going back a little bit. Here's a great idea coming in from Randall. And I've seen this a lot out here in the Midwest. You can take those trailers, fade the lettering, and place them on a business or properties where they're used for storage. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like the containers that we talked about last month. That's a great idea, especially if you model in one of the modular disciplines, whether it be Fremo, HO, or N-track, even T-track. You can take those trailers, you can set a scene. You know, that is something that you definitely see throughout the country. So here's a question I get daily, and I'm going to put it up here just to let you guys see. Richard asks, since Athearn offers a lot in trailers and containers, will there ever be any modern tractors? In the past, an early Freightliner cab over and Kenworth conventional was available. We need more modern cabs. Richard, I get that question asked almost on a daily basis. And so here's the problem with that question. There's really no problem with the question. It's just a matter of letting you all know what's involved. In an easy world, we could just go out there, get photographs of different tractors, modern or whatever era, go ahead, have one of our developers work on the drawings, and then have our engineers cut a mold and then build it. But that's not the real world. The real world is we have to pay licensing fees to Freightliner, Ford, Chevrolet, Chrysler, Fiat. If it's got a name tag, if it's got a Mack Bulldog on there, we're going to pay licensing. One of those things about licensing is it's not just as easy as going up to one of those big brand name companies and saying, hey, we'd like to make a model of your truck. It doesn't work that quickly. There's a lot of legalese that has to take place, both with Horizon lawyers as well as the corporate lawyers that represent the manufacturer. Sometimes those negotiations can go on for quite a while, and then once the okay is given, the point for us to take concept to finished good sometimes can take up to 2 to 3 years. So we are working on reaching out to a lot of these full-scale truck companies, and know that we are working on it, but also know, unfortunately, I'm not going to have anything for you right away. It may take a few years, but do know that we are working on it. Got a few new comments. Ditto. Ditto. It's real easy to ask for things. It's another thing to actually execute it. Take, for example, our AC 4400s. If I could somehow show you how much time John spent on just the development and research of those projects, plus the time it takes to cut the molds, plus the time it takes to actually engineer and get those done, I wish it was quicker, but unfortunately, it takes a little bit. Let's see. You've been asking this question all night. Are you guys going to do the Tri-Rail GP49H-3 in Genesis? Well, there's a couple of things that you can do to see if it will happen. One, go to the Athearn website, go to the Contact Us. You'll see the Athearn product suggestion email. Go ahead and select that, fill that out, tell our product developers that's what you want. Now, one of the things that we have to take into account is if we've got the correct tooling for that specific model. If we do, it's much easier for us to actually produce it. If we don't, we have to take a look and see how many other requests that we've gotten for that particular model. If there's a lot of people requesting that same model, and we think it's economically feasible to come up with new molds for that model, then there's a possibility you'll see it in the future. But for now, please go ahead and use that Athearn product suggestion email. It's the best way to get new ideas in front of our product development staff. Chris adds something very interesting to the conversation and very true. He says, not to mention a company may want such a high licensing fee that it's not worth the headache because it would make the model too expensive. You know, that's absolutely correct, Chris, and thank you for bringing that comment up on tonight. It's true. Every once in a while, any modeling company will approach a full-scale manufacturer, and they may have been given the okay to produce said model, but the licensing fees are so high that by the time they come down to the finished good, you as the modeler may not feel like you want to part with your money that much for that model. It's just one of the considerations that Athearn has to take into account. That way, you guys are happy with the finished product. All right. Derek brings up a comment. Janik had posted a picture last Friday of a P42, so it caused a little bit of controversy. I know this isn't on tonight's event, but the Amtrak P42 number 100 artwork is missing. The number 100, will this be correct on the final product? So a couple of different things there. Any artwork that you see on our website is not the final artwork. Many times we have to add more artwork to it to be prototypically accurate. We strive to make sure that every Genesis locomotive, Athearn locomotive, Roundhouse, and any product under those brands is as accurate as we advertise it to be. So keep in mind that just because the artwork is up there doesn't always mean we're done. The other thing I want to mention is, again, product development. They had a picture of the Cola P42, and a lot of people had a lot of feedback on the colors. One thing I want to remind you is that is a sample. So that's not a finished good. That's not a production sample. That's a sample. That's something that Janik or his crew are going to look over and make sure the factory has got everything up to spec. We send them data. Sometimes things get lost. Other mistakes are made. It's up to our product development staff to go through those. That being said, though, we want you guys to kind of see inside behind what's going on at Athearn. So occasionally John or Janik or anybody from his team will send me a picture of a sample. And we like to show those samples just to let you guys know what we're working on and let you know that maybe we haven't forgot about the P42s. Now, going back to the P42 picture that we posted last Friday, of course the color is going to be correct. Our product managers are already on it. Janik's already on it. It'll be fixed. Just keep in mind that sometimes if we say it's a sample, it's an early production run, not necessarily the finished good. All right, one more. Another good question on licensing. This is coming from Winona, and says, what's the story on licensing something defunct? Let's say like a Tucker or a fallen flag like Chessie. That's a great question. You've got two things going on there. I wonder how many people in the audience actually know what a Tucker is. There was only 50 of them made. I think 48 of them still exist. Something like that, 9 times out of 10, there's still going to be some kind of holding group for something, even if it's no longer made. Now, Tucker is a really unique example because Tucker went out of business a long time ago, but the Tucker name, the family, could be held by some type of ownership group, which can mean we would have to go through them in order to produce, let's say, a 1948 Tucker. Likewise, a DeSoto. A DeSoto, while that's been gone for many years, we'd have to go to the current parent day company, which would be Fiat Chrysler, or Oldsmobile would still be a GM license. Now, fallen flags like Chessie. Chessie, of course, went on to go to become CSX. Likewise, the CB&Q went on to become the BNSF. So there's usually a lineage that we have to follow. Some licensing is easier than others. Some licensing is more involved than others. But an excellent question, and thanks for bringing that up. All right, so I've got some great stuff here to show you because, like I said, there's only a few more days left of Christmas, and I wanted to share with you some stuff that, let's face it, as model railroaders, we're kind of hard to shop for. I mean, depending on who we have in our lives as far as family, our significant other, they might not know an SD40-2 from an SW1500 or a Seco boxcar from a 4-window caboose. So I'm here to help you. I wanted to show you some stuff that's now available at your dealer and make it easy on everybody. Just go ahead and pick it up before Christmas. Now, last week we talked a little bit about this, but it bears repeating. There's some stuff in stock at your dealer right now that you can pick up for yourself, or if you're got somebody in the train club that you're friends with, you want to help them out, or if there's some young modeler in your family that's aspiring to get something really cool for their layout this Christmas, there's some good ideas. Coming up first is we've got the Genesis Seco boxcars. Now, these are in stock at your dealer right now. They're Genesis quality, so they're going to be prototype specific. They're going to have all the braking detail, not to mention the air hoses and the cut levers. Now, I know what the N-scale guys in the audience are saying. What about us? N-scale would like a Seco boxcar too. Well, I'm glad you asked, because in the Athearn line, we've got the N-scale Seco boxcars. And yes, I own all 3 of the Boston to Maine ones in N-scale. Now, these are not Genesis, but they have a lot of really nice detail, and they are based on the prototype. As you can see here, the Boston and Maine boxcar is based on a 1970s paint scheme. So it includes the ACI label, which a lot of N-scale manufacturers are not doing, frankly. These are all available at your dealer. There's the Boston and Maine, as well as some other roads. So check those out. You can also go to the athearn.com and check out what's in stock right now. For you guys that do HO and for you guys that do N-scale, did you know that the Ford C boxcars are now in stock? Pretty much all of them are in stock. They just came in. Really cool stuff. We talked about these last fall. You're going to want to get one or two of these. Now remember, the Ford C truck started in the late 1950s, and Ford produced that particular cab and tractor all the way up to 1990. So it will definitely fit a lot of errors on your layout or your module. Did you know that the ready-to-roll PS 4740 covered hoppers are in stock as well? Now these have been offered as both singles as a 3-pack as well, as you can see here. So get ready for your next Fremo event. You know, after the holidays, we're going to start working on our Fremo modules, our N-Track modules, all of those kind of modules. You guys that are doing Fremo HO, these are perfect for Fremo HO operations because you can get them as a single or 3-pack. Now for you guys with a home layout, these are perfect. These AC44 or 4600 covered hoppers are now in stock. These are under the Genesis line. Again, phenomenal detail, metal etch parts, cut levers, air hoses, and of course, the highly sought after Grand Trunk. There's only a few of these left, so if you're a Grand Trunk fan, you're going to want to get one or two of these. For you guys that model the 50s into the 60s, we've got some F units available, both with DCC and non-sound DCC. The Norfolk and Western, the former Wabash one that I've got shown here, really unique locomotive. They're selling fast because they are so unique. We only did this particular one in the Norfolk and Western paint scheme. So if you want something a little bit different than the standard black Norfolk and Western F unit, go ahead and contact your dealer for $37.25. And then for you guys in the modern world, we haven't forgotten about you. We've got a few of the Dash 9s still in stock. Southern Pacific, we've got quite a few of these that would be perfect for you guys on the West Coast. Southern Pacific continues to be a great seller. And don't forget that these Genesis Dash 9s have the lighting features that a lot of standard Genesis locomotives don't have. Of course, you've got the LED headlights and the ditch lights, but you also got the ground lights, the walkway lights, and the number board lights. If you go ahead and get the Tsunami 2 sound, not only do you get those lighting features, but you get an amazing sound setup. Now, they are being offered in both DCC with sound and non-sound DC. So like I said, you still have a few days to maybe pick something up for yourself or a friend. Contact your dealer, contact your online dealer. However you get your Athearn stuff, give them a call, and you'll be all set for the holiday. All right, I've got time for one or two questions, and then I'm going to let you get back to some modeling and working on your layouts. So let's see what we've got. A lot of people like that Grand Trunk. It's a really cool railroad. Brian's right there too. Let's see. Kyle says, stop taking my money. I'm going broke over here. Yeah, but think of how much fun going broke is. I've got a whole layout here I got to fill with some HO scale freight cars and locomotives. Let's see what else we've got. Thank you, Delta 9. Yeah, they really are. And they operate really well. They have metal wheel sets, body mounted couplers. So for me, I have a small switching layout. They are perfect for a small switching layout. But if you're into T-track, N-track, or you just have a home layout, they're perfect for that too. One more comment or question here. Thank you, George. He just got his DTE. More Northeast. I wish, I am, if you don't know, I am from central New England. I'm the Northeast guy. The guys in the Midwest branch, when they see me walk by, they roll their eyes. Yeah, I'm the annoying Northeast guy, somewhat Canadian guy. And you know what? Honestly, I don't have a lot of pull. I can't say, hey guys, we need to do a Main Central or DNH. What we do is that's based on you guys. Now, in the past, you've probably seen some surveys. We also use the Athearn product suggestions. So if you want to see more Conrail, DNH, Reading, Boston and Main Central, all those cool roads, you need to go over and use our Athearn product suggestion because, frankly, if they let me choose what roads we'd have, we'd never see Southern Pacific or Rock Island. And honestly, we need those roads just as much as we need the Northeast roads. All right. I think that's it. I think a lot of guys are getting ready to work on their layout again. So first of all, I want to thank you all for joining me here tonight. And again, if you're watching the YouTube video, thank you for selecting us. Go ahead and give us a like and hit that notification bell. I want to thank all of you for joining me for the past year. We've had a great 2022, and it wouldn't be possible without you. Our customers are what really makes Athearn shine. And I really enjoy coming out to the shows and talking to you folks and seeing some of the work that you guys do. I'm constantly amazed by the layouts I get to see at shows and sometimes the rare invite to someone's actual personal home layout. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys. I want to wish you all a very happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and I will see you next week on Train Tuesday. Don't forget you have until Friday the 30th to place your pre-orders. Until I see you guys again, do some good modeling, be kind to others, high greens, and happy holidays, everyone. Good night.